Let's have a look. Alright YouTube, good morning, thank you for swinging by my channel and hanging out with me once again. Today I want to do a little bit of a flashback. I was having a look through some of my old videos and I came across two videos that I put together just before Rocco arrived. My son is now 2 and I think it was about a year before Rocco came along, talking to my clients about my time when I struggled with an eating disorder. Now, this struggle reigned for about 15 years. I want to do much more in the way of informational videos about binge eating, about habit change, about making better life choices, and about how you can actually combat binge eating, which a lot of my clients and the people who contact me do struggle with, and that's like one of their number one main barriers when it comes to actually being successful when it comes to weight loss. In order to show that I'm a person of worth and I'm a person who is authentic and raw and real with you and has been through this with you before, I wanted to do a little bit of a flashback and take you to the time that I shared my story. I was thinking about refilming it because everything that I'm putting in a minute is unedited. This is before I knew how to edit anything. This was like a one-time take thing. I sat down and I just laid it out. I really don't want to record it all again because it would make me sad. And also I just feel there'll be no benefit to me rehashing over stuff that I went through because it's very far in my past. Sometimes we can really forget times of pain and times of hard graft, especially when we're in the habit of having a new lifestyle, a new way of living, and it now becomes natural to us. So I thought, in order to be able to start talking more authentically and more practically when it comes to the habits of binge eating and making poor lifestyle choices and sabotaging ourselves, I'm not going to re-edit it, I'm not putting music to it, it's very, very raw and it takes me a little while to get my groove on. So I hope that you do stick with it and you listen to it because there is a few little nuggets of wisdom in there. But the reason why I'm putting it is because I want to start giving more factual information about how you can combat binge eating habits and how you can eliminate food fear, binge eating, negative habits, poor thinking, and kind of all these personal demons that are in your head all the time that sabotage our goals for making better life choices. And so I hope you like the video. Please be kind in the comments. I hope you like my story. It is a bit long and also I don't really hold back when I tell you about like the habits and what I went through. And I also then go on to kind of my realisation, my moment of when I really started to find healing. So I hope you like it. Enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to have some more informational videos. Leave me a comment. And also, give your girl a thumb up, hey? I'll see you after the video. I hope you enjoy it. Hello, how are you? I wanted to have a chat with you all today on a slightly more serious note. And what spurred me on to chat to you about what I'm going to talk to you about is from comments that I often get from my clients or friends or people I'm working with. And that is to suggest that when I'm working with somebody on implementing different diet changes, breaking habitual eating with bad foods that aren't optimum, like making them gain weight, I always get from, not always, but a lot of the time I get from clients, well, it's really, really easy for you, Sifi. This is like it's easy for you not to eat chocolate, it's easy for you not to eat cake, it's easy for you to make better changes because you love this lifestyle, you love being fit and healthy, you love coming to the gym, you love cooking, you love, you really get off on it. And actually, it happened this morning to my client who has been really struggling with following through with the changes that she wanted to make with her own diet. And so we're finding different ways of working on with her. And I said to her this morning something that I haven't said in a long time, which is, I wish
that she had met me when I was so sick with my eating disorder. I won't go into the ins and outs of why I had an eating disorder, but that's it. I had an eating disorder that spanned about 15 years, so from the age of about probably 13 or 14 right through up off and on until 27, 28 years old. It's a long time. I've always got it like it's 15 years in my head, don't know why. Anyway, we're going to go with 15 years. It's a long time. My eating disorder, basically, I never really defined it because it changed all over the place. It was mostly bulimia, but I'm going to go into that because there's all sorts of different kinds of bulimia. But the reason why I'm filming this today is because basically I think it's about time that some of my clients, because let's face it, that's the only people who are actually listening to this, know just how sick I was. Because I want them to understand how possible it is to turn your life around. I feel like I've been doing myself a great disservice by downplaying the strength of character I had to exercise in order to change my life around. And I have downplayed it a lot because often I'm quite guilty of wanting to make it so easy for my clients that they don't even have to be responsible for themselves. I feel like I've done all the hard work. I've literally scraped myself off of the floor, and I've learned about health, nutrition, looking after myself. It's my living, it's what I do, it's what I've been doing for the past however many years, is working with people, and I want to save them the agony that I actually went through. Now, that's not possible, because actually I think what I'm then telling my clients is, people who are struggling, is that actually, you know what, it's really easy. It's really, really easy to break a habit. It's fantastic. So that's, say you've got a compulsion to self-sabotage, eat bad foods, and you don't seem to be able to stop, and it's such an ingrained habit that it's actually really, really easy for you to change this. And the fact of the matter is, it's not. It's really, really hard. And it's going to probably be very upsetting for a few people to listen to this. It's certainly not upsetting for me to share it, but I think because I never, through my eating disorders, I never looked painfully thin. I never looked so skinny that I was, at death's door. So therefore, and nobody really knew how to help me. So I had years, and this is in like my later years when I started taking control of my own life, I had years of therapy via things like life alignment, Reiki, counselling, life coaching, hypnotherapy, tapping, like thought field therapy and tapping, and they've all had a wonderful place. And I have certainly came a long time ago to realise why I had developed these eating disorders. And as I said, it comes down to sort of abandonment issues that I had, and oh, little Robin, huh? And it was fundamentally how I dealt with things like depression and stuff, which always happened a lot for me, badly. So anyway, without going into the ins and outs of all that, basically the sort of eating disorder I had changed. So I kind of like to say I dabbled with anorexia, but I wasn't very good at it because I was so much into wanting to like suppress everything. So mine was suppress and then purge. Now, I wasn't one of these people that was trotting around looking after myself, eating my food and then throwing it up. I was somebody who compulsively ate anything and everything. I had been known to eat out of garbage cans, off of the floor, mouldy food, just the most rank, disgusting stuff, nearly crashing my car, driving fast, eating, trying to get to a bathroom, and I would compulsively eat until I was so full that I would literally be on the floor crawling to make it to the loo, and my stomach would start like trying to purge the food, because I would be so full that I couldn't move. And then vomiting for me was really, really fucking hard. Some people, when they're bulimic, they can throw up very, very easily. I couldn't. It was really, really, really hard. And as the years went past, I actually started using my gag reflex. So I certainly couldn't be sick naturally on my own if I was ever ill. I gave myself food poisoning on several occasions, gastroenteritis hugely. I gave myself gut issues, serious IBS issues, because this compulsive binge purge was so bad. But I would stuff myself, crawl to the loo. I'd been known to literally throw up in the street if I couldn't get to a loo, anything, not in the street publicly, but like I live in woodland areas, you can see, and if that I would run off I would do anything just to get rid of it, because eating food was such an anxiety for me that not only did I throw up everything that I was eating, which was my main meals, but I then couldn't actually eat anything because everything became a trigger food. So I would want to vomit everything, but I would stuff. And my binges could last maybe 15-20 minutes, and then it might take me up to an hour to then throw it up. I used to have broken blood vessels all around here, all up through my nose, bite marks in my hand. When my gag reflex went, would stuff anything down my throat, like my whole fist. I'd chew on my fist. I would have to throw spoons down my throat, toothbrushes down my throat, anything I could to vomit. And also I would do things like laxatives, not really that badly, so I'd basically be blowing out of both ends. Awful. And I would do that till I passed out, and then it would start all over again every single time. This is last time, I'm never going to do this again. I can't do this again. And I would feel guilt, I'd feel awful about it. And the worst thing is, because it would happen for periods of months at a time, and then maybe it would go away. And the reason why the purging part would go away is because I would lose my gag reflex completely, and there would be situations where I would be so stuffed and so full. I mean, and I say so stuffed and so full, I'd be like on the floor, like dragging myself up the stairs. And then what would happen is I couldn't throw up anymore. And so sometimes I would actually have to sit out and wait out this vast amount of food in my stomach, and I'd pass out. Or I would be vomiting until I would then have to pass out. So you try having any semblance of a normal life and study and be, connected with yourself and your friends and your family and stuff, and try and deal with this. So cutting forward, that was kind of last video, finished properly abruptly with absolutely no conclusion and probably no real understanding of why I banged on for ages about my eating disorder that I had. So I'll tell you now, as a conclusion, the reason why I wanted to talk about how bad my eating disorder had been through this 15-year span of off and on bulimia was because I really think that I have actually downplayed quite significantly how hard I have tried, do try, and continue to try, and will have to try to keep my life in check. I had so much therapy getting over my eating disorders, coming to an understanding of why they had developed, facing demons, really from a very psychological perspective, really threw myself into that. And also on top of that, I threw myself into learning how to look after myself. I studied to become a personal trainer. I studied NLP therapy, I've done nutrition, I've done so many different things to start trying to combine a healing process for like my mind, body and spirit. And it has been 10 years of continual hard work, hard graft. And after all of my hard work and after all of the psychological therapy I had, when all is said and done, where I was coming from was, even though I had a massive understanding in my head and also in my heart of why I had come to be as ill as I was, it was no massive eureka moment. It was like slowly over the years, and it occurred to me. I was chatting to somebody once. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have actually been a fellow eating disorder survivor, and she said to me, I believe it was her. She said to me, "Actually, what you're left with, Sifi, is merely a habit." And that for me was like the hallelujah. So I just, yes, totally, completely and utterly right. What I've been left with is a habit, because I've got this massive understanding of why I've done what I've done, why I lived the life that I did, why the depression was there, why the eating disorders were there. And I have thrown myself so hard into self-healing that actually the habit was there. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. I have found breaking the habit of a daily binge, vomit, repeat until you pass out process. I've forgotten what I was saying. It was a habit, and that was the hardest thing to break. Actually, all the psychological stuff around it, because I was dealing with the psychological stuff as an adult of stuff that happened to me as a child. It was kind of, I could let that go almost, not easily, but the emotional side of things, I could let it go far better than I could let go of this habit that I had. And when it was only really then when somebody clarified to me, what you are is being a victim to your habit. And I was like, oh no, okay, right, not happening. And I tell you what, breaking a habit is hard. If you're one of these people who are coming into the session saying, Sifi, it is hard. It's hard not being able to have control over not eating that chocolate, or not having time, or choosing not to have time to make food and stuff like that that's going to actually serve you and make you feel better. Believe you me, I get it. That's been the thing that's been the hardest, and I have really downplayed how hard I have had to work to change these habits. My habit changes have almost been somewhat extreme, but they're the first time that I really got massive healing, really, from the habit that I had. And that was, I was former Miss Cardio Queen, eat no food, fat was the devil, to suddenly becoming not suddenly, but now being a power lifter who competes and does pretty good, and eats lots of food. How do you think that I went from being so sick on this end to strong and powerful and in control on this end? It's taken an enormous strength of character, and I will not downplay it anymore. Nobody's ever asked me to downplay it, but I've downplayed it. I've downplayed how hard I've worked. I've downplayed the hours spent in looking after myself. I downplay the fact that actually, you know what, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, I got in at 11 o'clock at night last night, and I've got to drag my sorry ass out of bed to cook myself some damn food that is going to serve me for the day. You know what? Thank you very much for offering me this slice of cake. A girl can dream, but you know what? I'm not flying today, right? It's hard work, but I have got to do it, and it all has come down to choice. It makes it sound so simple. It makes me sound like that I am dismissing all these hard emotional issues. I'm not talking from an emotional issue. I'm talking from a place of habit. I'm talking about the place of habit change, and it is hard to change a habit, and you've got to replace a current habit with a new habit, and then you've got to practice, fail, get pissed off, practice, fail, get pissed off, practice, and it is hard. I have to tap into anger for myself. I get angry when I don't look after myself. I get angry now when I feel that I've made less food choices. I get angry when I feel that I have been ruled by my emotional state rather than me ruling me and putting the food in my body that I need to put in. And you know what? Nowadays, it's a lot easier to not binge and not have vomit sessions and stuff like that. And I could tell you, whereas I used to maybe do it 15 times a day, I could tell you that a couple of years ago I did it 15 times that year. And then I could tell you that last year I probably did it 5 times. And I could tell you this year I don't think I've done it once. So, yay! I don't think I have particularly given the sort of conclusion that I wanted to for me talking about my eating disorder, but you know what, I'm going to post this anyway, because luckily only 2 or 3 people will see it, and it'll be the 2 or 3 people who actually need to. I'm really sorry I do not have the answers to make it so much easier, and that I have the way of making it simple for you to make better choices, and I have ways of making it easy for you to adopt new habits consistently. The only thing that I can tell you is that it's hard. Practice and fail at it. Get back on the horse, practice again, and keep on doing it. And don't do it because you're trusting, or because you think it's going to work, or because of this, that, or the other. Just do it because it makes more sense. Doesn't it make more sense to eat a healthier breakfast than it does to eat chocolate? Doesn't it make sense to go and get yourself a little bit of exercise, whether it be go out and go walking, get a dog and go walking with a dog, over consistently sitting in every night drinking wine, if that's one of your downfalls? Think about it from almost a logical point. You're an adult. Eat like an adult. Think like an adult. Logic yourself out of things, because you can do it. Don't make it so psychologically hard that actually it's impossible, and you need to have, of course, thousands of therapies to do this. There's a place for that, but also nobody can do it for you. It's so hard, and I wish I could sit there and say it's easy, but it's not. It's hard. Make the choice. Make the damn choice. You've got a choice. You've got a choice to change things around. You've got a choice to leave the wrapper on the chocolate bar. You've got a choice.
Are you still here? Thank you so much for sitting through that and watching. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your support and any kind comments that you might like to leave. But now I feel like I can start sharing with you some tips and tricks when it comes to binge eating and also making positive life choices, since you now know that I am a person of worth, and I am a person who has been there, done that, bought the t-shirt repeatedly over and over for about 15 years. Please leave me a comment below if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.